Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the CBPR Navigating Cross-Border Data Privacy Compliance webinar. We have two amazing speakers today.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. I am Joyanne Furch, Director of Privacy Intelligence Development here at TrustArc. I've been with TrustArc for over 20 years and was involved when CBPRs first came online in 2013 and helping TrustArc become the first accountability agent in the system.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maciek Piszcz. I'm a manager of our quality assurance here. I've been with TrustArc for over 2 years. My previous role was Global Privacy Manager when I was working with companies on CBPR certifications.
All right, great. Well, we have a full agenda for you today.
Let's start off. CBPR is a comprehensive principles-based certification. The system was first developed by Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC. Economies is a regional framework for transfer mechanism, and the framework is based on, globally recognizable OECD guidelines. It's a comprehensive certification program. It is based on the program requirements that operationalize 9 principles of the APEC CBPR framework. Those principles cover various aspects of data protection and security. Some of those examples of those principles are preventing harm, access, correction, collection limitations, security safeguards. A essential part of the whole system is a role of an accountability agent. So for the company to get certified against CBPR program requirements, they have to work with the accountability agent. Every jurisdiction, every participating economy that operationalizes CBPR framework has to select accountability agents. So here in the United States, we are accountability agent. Some participating economies, such as Canada, don't have selected accountability agents. So in order to get the company certified, we work with the companies in our platform. And we will explain how this process works in the later stages of the presentation.
Yeah, great, Maciek. That's a great overview. And one of the unique things about the CBPR system with the accountability agent and requiring organizations that wish to participate in the system to go through a certification is that it has accountability built in throughout the entire system, where the jurisdictions that wish to join and participate in the system have to meet certain requirements, such as having a privacy law in place, being able to demonstrate that they can enforce against the requirements, that they have a regulator in place, and and that they are committed to the CBPR principles, as well as willing to put that accountability agent in place. And the accountability agents, we also go through an application process and need to be approved by the participating jurisdictions in the system. So we are recognized as having the appropriate processes in place to review and certify companies, do the required ongoing monitoring, and provide dispute resolution to consumers, where they have questions regarding our participating companies. And then the companies themselves that are participating undergo the certification, which we'll go into more detail about. But the system is about accountability, and that is built in throughout the whole system, which really makes it unique, and also a really good way to demonstrate that you have a privacy program in place. That CBPR seal really communicates that for you. And we'll go into some examples in a little bit here on how it helps do that.
And if I may add, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
If I may add something, so per the program requirements, it's one side of the accountability is, the company's accountability, but also this is accountability for the companies that you transfer data to. So, if your processors comply with the certain code of conduct, or if your processors are PRP certified. So this is kind of like also accountability on the processor side.
Yep, really good point. And also, the system is, designed for interoperability with other mechanisms. So this is, a critical part that could be part of your data transfer toolbox. Let's go to the next slide, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. All right, as both Maciek and I were talking about, is there's two pieces to the system. So there's a part for controllers, which is certification against the cross-border privacy rules, the requirements. And this is where the transfer benefit comes in for the controllers, is that they gives them a means to transfer data, across the jurisdictions that, participate in the system. And they're able to demonstrate that they meet the requirements through the certification. But also as important is processors, and processors being able to demonstrate to the controller that they have the appropriate controls and mechanisms in place to help the controller meet its obligations under the CBPR program requirements. So there's a certification that is specific for processors, which focuses on what types of safeguards the processor has in place, how the processor can demonstrate accountability to the controller, ensuring that the controller is able to meet its obligations under the system. And as we have here, as a data transfer mechanism, it really does help companies streamline its data flows across jurisdictions, because you're certified to a program that is based on globally recognized guidelines, such as the OECD guidelines. And what we've seen, especially in the last few years, is more jurisdictions are recognizing in their data protection laws the CBPR system as a means to transfer data. And we have a few listed here, such as Japan, Singapore, Dubai, the International Financial Center there, Bermuda, and also in the USMCA agreement between Canada, US, and Mexico, the system is definitely recognized there. Maciek, you want to take the last couple of points here?
Yeah, so in terms of recognized principles, this is what Joanne was explaining. You can, build those transfer. You can build your your privacy, your data protection processes and transfer mechanisms around those recognized OECD principles. And in terms of state of Tennessee, the Tennessee Information Privacy Act requires controllers, but also processors to create and maintain a written privacy program. And the Privacy Act recognizes APEC CBPR as, as an additional factor to be considered when the program is assessed. So what really stands out here is this is really the first the first privacy law in the United States that recognizes expressly recognizes CBPR.
Yeah, and that's a really critical point, is that, the system, it's, more than a data transfer mechanism, but it is a way for your organization to demonstrate accountability and that you do have an effective privacy program in place, as we'll show you in how this lines up against, some of the core requirements under GDPR, that you do have those fundamental principles and policies in place for your privacy program. Yep, here we go. All right, Maciek.
Yeah, so here we have a chart kind of comparison. So in the first column, we have CBPR principles. Then there are GDPR, there are GDPR requirements and what we have in CBPR. So first, access correction. This is CBPR, one of the CBPR principles. So in GDPR, you have data subject rights. So, access, rectification, erasure, among others. CBPR program requirements require companies to implement appropriate procedures and mechanisms for access correction and deletion. So, it to some extent it maps with GDPR requirements very well. It provides individuals can exercise the access correction and deletion. Another CBPR principle is collection limitation. In GDPR, it is specified explicit legitimate purposes. In GDPR, as an accountability agent, we have to verify that the information that the data controllers are collecting fulfill the purposes identified by those companies. In terms of another principle, use of personal information, we mapped, GDPR data minimization principle, and under GDPR, the use has to be limited to fulfill specified purposes of collection. So, as if you are a data controller, you have to disclose that to your data subjects in your privacy notice. And when we perform our certification review, we have to work with the clients to verify that. The last principle that we have in this chart is choice. And under GDPR, if you rely on consent, it has to be freely given, specific informed indication of the data subject wishes. And under CBPR, express consent is required if the personal information is collected for non-compatible purposes.
Yeah, and this is a great overview. There's definitely a lot more overlap. There's studies that have been done that show, as high as, 67% overlap, either through a direct match of the requirement or an indirect matching. But you'll see, the core principles, especially the ones even that we don't have listed here, like transparency, providing that notice at the point of collection, informing individuals about what data is being collected, why you're collecting it, how can they exercise their rights under the system, and what choices do they have related to that. And then also, the data protection measures that you have in place, the security requirements, as well as ensuring the integrity of the data that you collect. So this is just to give you a broad overview of how the CBPR system enables you to, get a step towards compliance with other data protection laws, though the system is not designed as, to show that you comply with a specific law. The system is designed to show that you have a program in place and that you have appropriate protections in place. Anything else you want to add, Maciek?
No, I mean, and in terms of, and in terms of the various studies that you were talking, Joe, and we also have, I think it was WP 29, Working Party 29, that mapped BCR requirements to CBPR. So there are a lot of studies, but as you said, we just wanted to create this chart to show that, everything kind of, gets back to the accountability, transparency, and those are the, customer facing requirements of the CBPR that the companies has to implement to, go through the CBPR certification process.
All right, should we dive into what that process looks like and how
Yes.
this all works?
Yeah, so let's take a step back before you even certify against CBPR requirements. So let's say you are, payments processing company. You have a few products for which you are a data processor. You have a couple of products that you are considered data controller. You also have your marketing, business operations, HR. And you want to expand your operations globally, so you have your US operations, Canadian operations, you have employees in Mexico and other APEC economies. You can build enhance the maturity of your privacy program by building your privacy program around CBPR principles and requirements, among others, of course, but it gives you a good, core principles that, as we've already said, are based on the OECD guidelines and many privacy regulations around the world, or if not most of them, are based on those OECD principles. So now when you have built your privacy program, you have policies, procedures in place, your privacy notice is written, you have functioning mechanisms for the data subjects, for your customers to access, correct, and delete the information. At this point, you can engage TrustArc as an accountability agent. You would work with someone from our team on your certification. You would define the scope of the APEC CBPR certification, and you have more flexibility around here. So something that I was talking about, you have your marketing operations, you have your business operations, you have those two products that you consider yourself as a data controller. And you also may or may not want to add the HR operations. So there's this flexibility aspect here. So we define the scope together. You go through the questions. You provide you go through the questionnaire, a CBPR questionnaire. You provide your policies, procedures. You explain your privacy practices. You will work with someone in our team on the review of your privacy practices and privacy notice. And at the end of this review, we will identify the gaps for your compliance, and kind of guide you how to meet the program requirements of the CBPR framework. At the end of this process, when you become CBPR, when you meet all the program requirements, you get certified. Your company, your company's name can be listed in the APEC CBPR directory, and you get to display the seal, the certification seal in your privacy notice. And in terms of the processors, we can use the example of the same company. Many companies just chose to have both certifications: CBPR for your data controller side of the business, and for those products for which you are our data processor. So for PRP, there will be two principles in the PRP certification: accountability and security. And it's really all based around, one, the security safeguards that you have in place, but also how you're helping data controllers, in fulfillment of their APEC CBPR requirements.
Yeah, and it's a very comprehensive process where we take you, as Maciek mentioned, we take you through the review your documentation, and we do this through our technology platform to manage the process and help make it a streamlined process. And reviewing documentation that you provide to demonstrate how your organization meets the requirements, and in providing you that report when everything is done, to show how you did that, as well as issuing the seal. And then there's an ongoing monitoring process after the seal is issued, where we'll do a check to verify that the certified notice is continuing to be posted, as well as participation in the dispute resolution mechanism. And also, as Maciek was mentioning, is that there is a strong case for processors to join the system. And what we've seen as we participate in workshops around the CBPR system, and what we hear from companies, especially those that are certified against the CBPR requirements, for controllers, is that they want a simplified, streamlined way to know that their processors are able to help them meet their requirements, and meet the obligations under the CBPR, and that they have the appropriate mechanisms in place. And where the processor has been certified by a recognized accountability agent, they are in a great position to demonstrate to the controller, like, here, my mechanisms have been certified. A third party has verified that we have these policies in place. And it really streamlines the onboarding process of a processor for that controller. And in some cases, there's organizations that will recognize that, hey, you got the PRP certification, you may only have to answer a couple of additional questions on a vendor questionnaire, and that really helps streamline the process. And what we're hearing from these larger companies is that they're really encouraging their vendors to go through this type of certification. So there really is I believe, a strong benefit outside of the transfer benefit for a processor to undergo this certification.
Yeah, as John mentioned, it's a very strong due diligence mechanism for the companies to, maybe require PRP certification for your service provider, or for processors also to, require that from your sub processors. And we've been hearing that a lot from the companies, that this is really why they are even interested in getting PRP certified, because many companies just it's a due diligence requirement for from the data controllers.
All right, shall we talk about where the system is going? So today, APEC, it's the APEC CBPR system. And over the years, they've heard from a lot of jurisdictions outside of APEC that they're interested in participating in this system because they see the value of it, the built-in accountability and enabling the free flow of data internationally, and that it's really the core principles really are interoperable with other mechanisms. So where this is going is a little over a year ago, the Global CBPR Forum was announced, and expanding the scope of the CBPR system from APEC economies to global jurisdictions. And their goal is to seek the support of free flow of data by providing this interoperable mechanism for effective data protection and privacy globally, and taking that global view. Where the work that's been done over the past year is putting the governance of the system in place, and those documents can be found on globalcbprs.org. So their website is live. The next stage is working with the recognized accountability agents under the APEC system to transition over to the Global CBPR system, and starting to operationalize this program. And the goal is hopefully by the end of this year is that this will be operationalized, and that we're helping organizations have that seamless transition from the Global CBPR system or from the APEC system over to the Global CBPR system, so we can have that seamless approach. The jurisdictions that are participating in the Global CBPR system, in addition to the United States, include Australia, Canada, Mexico, Singapore, South Korea, Chinese Taipei, the Philippines, and there's two more that I am trying to think of. But yeah, there's a total of 9, and then the UK recently joined as an associate member. So what that means is the UK is able to participate in the discussions and around the system, as well as being a key part of the workshops. They haven't yet committed to the accountability agent component, which is what's needed to become a full member. But what is significant about the UK joining is they are the first jurisdiction outside of APEC to be part of this system. So that is a really exciting development. The other thing that's exciting and may have an impact on the system is that India has passed its data protection privacy law, and that they just did that over at the end of last week. So that actually starts to pave the path for them potentially wanting to participate in the system. And given a large jurisdiction such as India, especially with such a extraordinarily huge digital market, a system like this would be important for them to be, to continue, evolving their presence in the global market. So hopefully India will be able to join at some point. That is speculation and a prediction on my part. I do want to highlight that. But so you're saying, you may have a question of, well, should I wait till this is operationalized before, deciding to participate? And my answer is participate now, because you'll transition over to the new system. The requirements will remain the same. The certification that you undertake under the APEC CBPR system will seamlessly transition over to the global CBPR system. So your expiration date, your next review date would remain the same. So if you got certified in September of this year, your next, certification date would be September of 2024, and that date would remain the same, if you, certify under the APEC system, and we transition to the global system by the end of the year. So long-winded way of saying, it's like make that investment today in time, because you're going to have a big benefit later. It's the benefit of this will be very, very big. Machak, you want anything add to that?
Yeah, and again, as you said, Joanne, there is strong emphasis on that seamless transition because, really the program requirements for the global CBPR are substantively the same. So the companies that are certifying now will be in a great position to be transitioned to the global CBPR system. And a little bit about just the concept of the free flow and trade. That was really the core. That was really the core, idea when this whole when the system was developed by APEC economies, just to enable free flow of the information, but also to make sure that data protection mechanisms are in place. So global expansion is kind of a very logical step forward for the whole system. And as we mentioned before, there are already non-APEC jurisdictions that such as Bermuda or Dubai International Financial Center that are already recognizing CBPR system as a transfer mechanism.
Yeah, and I think that is a really good point. It's I think definitely going to be a key system, especially as as it continues to evolve its interoperability with other systems, and the UK joining is a key part of that. Anyway, I believe we're open to questions with the little bit of time that we have left. And if you do have a question, please enter it into the chat. Otherwise, we're happy to give you some time back in your day.
And while we're waiting for questions, Joanne, also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what is really unique about the global CBPR system, it's really the first global system in the world, or the first system to be designed to, really, open the certification mechanism for the globally.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it unique is the recognition of accountability agents to do these certifications, and how the system has built in accountability throughout, and really given organizations a strong way to demonstrate that they have the appropriate privacy protections in place and that they have a program in place.
So just to wrap this up, you have this, you have the the framework that is based on the globally recognized OECD guidelines. You have strong emphasis on the interoperability. You have you work with accountability accountability agent certification body that gives you additional level of credibility. Your company at the end of certification, the name of your company will be included in the compliance directory, and you will get to display the seal on your privacy notice that is in the scope of certification. And you also have this kind of sort of flexibility in defining the scope of your certification. So if you want to include your products, marketing activities, marketing operations, business operations, or HR, if you also would like to include that.
Hey, Maciek, we got a question. As you talked about the certification process, how long does it usually take, say an organization to go through the CBPR certification, and how long will it take a processor to complete the PRP certification?
So let's start with PRP. PRP questionnaire is pretty short because there are two principles: accountability and security. For CBPR, it's a very comprehensive review. So for processors, and I mean, it all depends on on the procedures, policies that the company has in place. If you have a good information security policy and you have written procedures and policies for PRP, I would say it usually takes few months for new companies to get certified. But for CBPR, it also depends. Usually, I mean, I want to say few months, but it also depends on the maturity of especially for CBPR, of the maturity of the privacy program of the company, and if the company meets the program requirements. If during the certification process, we find out that some of the requirements are not met at the time of certification, there are some tasks for remediation that the company has to work on to meet the requirements of the CBPR framework. So this could, take some time.
Okay, so it's largely dependent on the maturity of the program and the scope of the certification and what it'll apply to. If I'm a company preparing for certification, what type of documentation should I have in place and kind of ready to go to help demonstrate my how I meet the requirements?
For PRP, for PRP, the documents will be, your information security policy, comprehensive information security policy to ensure that you have all safeguards in place, your contracts with data controllers to also, verify the mechanisms you have in data controllers, policies around how you help data controllers in ensure that they also meet the CBPR requirements if they are a CBPR certified company. And for CBPR, it's a set of it's a pretty long list of documents. So I mean, also InfoSec policy, all the processes and policies around how you provide access correction, deletion, documents. Some example could be data inventory. In terms of other policies, of course, your privacy notice or privacy notices in terms of that you want to include in the scope of your certification. But it also depends on how you want to define the scope of the certification.
Okay, so at a minimum, get your privacy notice together, make sure you have a comprehensive privacy notice, taking a look at your information security policies, and then on the CBPR side, looking at your process documentation, especially around how you manage choice and consent, withdraw of consent, and then how individuals can exercise their rights around correction, deletion, and access. Would that be a fair summary?
It's a fair summary, but you also, as a company, you also need to, you also have to ensure that those, those mechanisms for individuals to access, correct, and, request the deletion of the personal information are easily accessible for the individuals, and it's well explained in your privacy notices, and this is the mechanism that individuals can easily access.
Awesome. We really appreciate you joining us, and we hope you found this informative.
Thank you, everyone.